Good evening, good evening, good evening. How's everybody doing tonight? Friday night. Crazy. Crazy, crazy. So welcome to the live stream, folks. We got Janet's here. Enough already. Dale from Ohio. Nostradamus. Kathy. JJ's in the house. Bobby Farron. Mark is here. Geez, Mark, I just saw you a couple of minutes ago. The Garden Life. Yvonne, welcome. Delbert's in the house. Treesaw Lim. That's funny. I like that name. So anyway, welcome everybody. I hope you guys have had an interesting week. It's been an interesting week, I'm sure, as everybody knows, and we're going to be discussing some more of that tonight. Yeah, crazy, crazy world. I'll tell you what. So anyway, before we jump into anything, I want to remind everybody that this is a very family-friendly oriented channel. I would ask you all to be decent in the chat, no racism, no nastiness. And so if we can have a nice chat, that'd be great. If you can't, if you're going to be an idiot, which some will be idiots, I have those awesome people lit up in blue with the blue wrenches, and they're going to boot them people out of here. So there we go. So that'll be the end of them. So, all right, let's jump into things, right? So obviously they caught the guy. The guy's father recognized him from the pictures. He confronted his son. His son confessed to it. And so they ended up talking, and he was going to kill himself before he turned himself in, he was saying. But then they had a pastor come and talk to him, and he turned himself in. So bad situation, folks. 22 years old and just threw your whole life away for what, you know? But just like I said, so let me just, I had a conversation today, and I thought this was perfect. And they said, when they catch this guy, I don't want the death penalty for him. I said, I want him to live. I want him to go to prison, and the guards and the prisoners will take care of him, and his life will be a living hell. And I thought, you know what? That's probably not a bad idea. If you guys remember that moron that went into the church and he killed all those folks in that church? That was a black church, and he was a white guy. What happened to him in prison, if you guys remember? Guards weren't paying attention. Like 3 black guys went into the shower, and he got raped. Terrible situation. It's called payback. That is orchestrated and set up. So you don't think that this guy goes to prison, somehow something happens? Terrible situation, you know. But no, I don't want him to die either. I don't. I'd like to see him suffer a whole lot for a very long time. For a very long time. So that would be, to me, the way it should go. I wanted to also, well, we'll talk a little bit more about this whole situation, but I was watching a bunch of different people today, and the one guy, he'd come on there, and I love the way that it was handled, okay? And I wanted to address this, and I if I could remember a guy's name, I would give it to you, but he's on like TikTok or Instagram or something. And he said, I've lost 7,000 subscribers. He goes, and I don't care if it goes down to 0. He was finding out who all these idiots were that were posting all these posts on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, wherever, delighting in the fact that this gentleman was killed, okay, Charlie Kirk. And what he did is he went to their jobs, found out where they work. He has gotten 350 people fired from their job. And I just think that is an awesome way to deal with it. I just thought that was fantastic. You know, another lady was talking about the same thing. She was like exposing people, and people were getting fired. And she said, "We're not stupid. We're not going to do violence with violence." She goes, "We're going to hit you where it hurts the most, in your pocketbook." So, these people are losing their jobs. Good. I think that that's the greatest way to handle it, to be honest with you. Uh, you know, I don't advocate for violence because, you know, it doesn't solve violence on top of violence doesn't solve anything. It really doesn't. I'll tell you, I'm going to tell you, and being honest with you, I've been in a lot of fights in my life, especially when I was younger, and nobody wins in a fight. Nobody wins in a fight. At the end of the day, they really don't. Um, Now, I was in a lot of fights that I felt completely justified in being in. A lot of times the fights that I got into where there was somebody being a bully to somebody else, and I stepped in because I hate bullies. I just can't stand bullies. And the people that were doing these videos, that's like a form of bullying. You got a young widow now with two young children, just lost her 31-year-old husband because of a lunatic, and they were celebrating. That's just disgusting. And I'm going to tell you what, and I don't care if it was somebody on the left that was killed. Okay, it's not the way that we should be doing stuff. It really isn't. Um, and again, Charlie, all he wanted to have was a civil discord with people. Sit down, talk to them, make a point, say what he needed to say. And if they wanted to, you didn't know who he was until his passing. I've watched him off and on, and I always liked him because he didn't feed into the baiting. Like, they would come up to the mic and they'd be like, "F you, you're a Nazi, you're this, you're that, you're the other thing." And he would be like, "Well, how? What racist thing have I ever said?" Because he just doesn't. He just doesn't. And he was always willing to have a cordial conversation with people, and because he would destroy these people, I mean, whatever stuff that they came up with, he would just destroy it. He would destroy it, and it was nothing that they could do about it. And then they would look stupid, and they can't handle that. When you're called out on your BS, they can't handle it. And I'll be honest with you, it's like the same thing on YouTube. You know, you have people hiding in the shadows, playing keyboard warriors. On everybody, anybody that has a platform, anybody that has anything to say. There's going to be people that disagree with them, which is fine. Like I said, I don't have a problem with people disagreeing with me. Okay, what I have a problem with is people coming on and attacking, trying to belittle, trying to get into arguments with people in the chat. I'm just not going to have it. You know what I mean? I'm just not going to have it. So, but people just feel like they can do whatever they want now, and see, that's part of the other problem. And I guess this young man, they were talking that he'd gotten more and more radicalized. And here's what I find funny, okay, and not really funny, but ironic. I'll call it, yeah, instead of funny, because it's not funny, it's ironic. You've had several politicians on the left, and Maxine Waters would be a great one. Okay, and I'll give you a great example. What just happened to her? Okay, so she's the one that got up and said, if you see these politicians out in a restaurant or in a store, confront them, get in their face, blah blah blah. Well, she recently had somebody came up to her while she was at a restaurant, and she was talking about this, which, and again, the irony is amazing to me. And the person didn't scream at her, didn't yell at her, but disagreed, was saying to her, "I don't believe in your policies," and blah blah blah. Of course, she said, "Oh, I was verbally attacked," and all this type of stuff. And she tried to make it about a race thing, of course, because that's all they got, right? Uh, it's unfortunate, but again, you can't advocate for one thing and then when it happens to you, not like it. I think that that's funny in that way, but. It's just, but a lot of these liberal, left leaning, lunatic politicians have called for people to rise up. Have they not? Am I wrong on that? How many on the Republican side? And this is just a question, guys. This is a question. How many on the Republican side has said, rise up, take this one out, take that one out, take the other one out? Remember the squad? There was the four of them. I believe the two of them got voted out. I believe two of them got voted out. That's how you deal with people like that. When their term is up, and they're up for re-election, you don't like what they're doing, you don't like their actions or what they're representing for your district, you get them out and you put somebody else in. So I have two sisters that are on that side. Disgusting to me. I haven't spoken to either in 5 years now. And again, that's unfortunate, Nostradamus. It really is. You know, I honestly, I've had people block me because they didn't like what I had to say, on Facebook and stuff like that. And I just find that sad, to be honest with you. If we could have a civil conversation, but a lot of times, unfortunately, with a lot of people, you can't have a civil conversation. It's their way, they're right, and you're completely wrong. They're not open to have a debate. They don't want to have that. They don't want to talk about that, and that's, like I said again, whatever happened to, you remember sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Whatever happened to that? Now everybody is offended by everything. They're offended by everything. So, it's just, it's unreal. It is absolutely unreal. It's not going to stop. It's just going to continue on, and then things like this happen. And then all of a sudden the left is going to be like, oh, this is terrible. This should never have happened. Well, the legacy news media, they've pushed this narrative. These politicians have pushed this narrative, saying this guy's a Nazi, saying, he's a terrible person. And you get mentally disturbed people that will feed into that. And what happens? This is a result. This is what happens. Or, 2 times now they've tried to assassinate the president. So, it's just unbelievable to me. It really, really, truly is. And then, then they want to play like, oh, this is terrible. Well, behind the scenes are probably happy it happened because he was a worthy opponent. Charlie Kirk was a very worthy opponent. Very, very smart young man. So morning light, same here, but I have never been the one who didn't talk. Just all of a sudden, no talking to me. Oh, well, that's how they deal with it. That's how they deal with it. If they don't like what your politics are, then you're the bad guy, and they will cut you off, which, again, it's unfortunate. I will tell you what, like my niece, okay? You guys have seen Jeannie. Jeannie's very liberal, very, very liberal. I love her to death. I love her with all my heart. We have had conversations and we have agreed not to talk about politics. She goes, because I'm not changing my mind. She goes, I know you're not changing yours. So it's just best that we don't talk about it. And I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? So I can have a relationship with my niece. I'm okay with that. I don't like her way of thinking, and I'm sure she doesn't like my way of thinking. So it is what it is. So, but because when my sister told me that, I was like, what? But yeah, I mean, you just don't know. You don't know. They're not getting indoctrinated at home, so somewhere along the line, somebody is affecting them. What is up with that? I'm not even going to address it. Thank you, JJ. I'm like, really? My wife and I disagree on a lot of things. Love her forever. 32 years this past Thursday. We are just on opposite sides, and that's okay. See, that's the thing. That should be okay. You don't have to agree. You don't have to always, fall in line. It's like you have a right to your opinion. She has a right to her opinion. You know, it doesn't mean you're right and she's wrong and she's right and you're wrong. It's just you agree to disagree. Me and Steve, I told you guys, we've had many conversations and we just kind of had to get to a point where we don't talk about certain things. Because I'm not looking to argue and fight about it. You don't like Trump, I like Trump. I don't think Trump is the greatest thing since sliced bread, but I looked at the alternative, which was Harris, and I went, I would rather have Trump. Simple as that. My biggest thing was with all of it, come up with better candidates. You don't like who's being put out there, come up with better candidates. In their quiet withdrawal, find better. You cannot change people, but you can change those people. This is a big box, and so I'm setting this over here. It's not wanting to stay up there. I've seen a lot of people who are teachers saying bad things, and that's part of the problem. Okay, that's part of the problem. When you have these teachers and they're influential folks with these kids, are influential, and then if the kids say something that they don't agree with, they can make it hard on these kids. Yeah, right. The Cheez-Its ghost. Yeah, something. I just all of a sudden decided it was going to fall. Yeah, reason number 8 billion to homeschool your kids. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Yeah, if you don't want your kids indoctrinated, homeschool them. I mean, I remember, like I said, as a kid, what do we do every single morning? Thank you. Thank you. We're not going to do this right now. So get down, be a good girl. Every morning we stood up and we said the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. That was it. That's what we did every day. They don't do that anymore. They won't have an American flag in the classroom, but they'll have all this other crap in the classroom. And then you'll get these teachers that have an agenda, and they push that agenda on our kids. And if you don't want that, you as a parent, it's up to you to do something about it. And that, again, it's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. So, but so we had Mark got in yesterday, as you guys saw. Yeah, they don't do anything we used to do in school. Oh yeah, like I said, shop and home ec, all that. That's all gone now. They're not teaching our kids stuff that's going to get them ready for the real world. They're just not. So I don't get it. I don't get it. And then they go off to these colleges with these, radicalized professors. I mean, when you have guys, okay, when you have members of the was it the Weather Underground from the 60s that did bombings? I think it was the Weather Underground. But they were doing bombings and stuff like that. If you remember, if you know anything about the history of it, I think they were called the Weather Underground. I'm not 100% sure. Well, guess what some of those people are doing now? Guess what some of them are doing now? They're professors in colleges, folks. These are the people that are teaching our kids at college. So the military has a zero tolerance about the Charlie Kirk matter. Anyone mocking the matter will result in severe disciplinary action. Good, and they should. The thing here, I actually saw a post, okay, from the other side, and it wasn't mocking the death, okay, but it was saying that their points. He was this, he was that, he was the other thing, of course, because they have him, as this horrible human being, and so they're like, you've got to understand that people are going to be happy that he's not here anymore, right? But you don't celebrate somebody's murder, and think that that's okay. And like I said, again, I don't care who it is. So I was on vacation in the U.S. in '98. U.S. flags flying everywhere. It was so nice to visit a country proud of the flag. Oh yeah, I mean, I hear you. No, it's that's kind of gone away too. Unfortunately, it has. But most kids are not able to read at their reading level. Oh yeah, no, they're passing these kids on. I mean, they did it when I was in school too. I mean, my spelling's atrocious. I'll be the first to tell you that my spelling is atrocious. Does that make me stupid or ignorant because I don't spell well? No. It was never important to me. It was just never important. I didn't care, So, um, when people get on and I put the wrong there, I don't give a crap. I don't. If I hadn't, people like the spelling Nazis always amaze me. You know what I mean? It is, that's what it is as well. Yeah, no cursive. Yep. Uh, what was the big hole your guy was digging under the cabin today, please? Okay. He's doing an addition, Lamb's Light under the cabin. Also, he he was putting bigger post in underneath there, and he's going to make an addition underneath the cabin to give him more room. So, and I know of kids that can't read a road map if they had to. Oh yeah, they have no idea with any of it because they're not taught anything anymore. They're not taught, like I said, basic skills. I mean, this sounds silly, but how many kids do you know that can really start a fire? And I'm just talking with a match. I'm not talking, with the bow drill and all. I'm not talking all that. I'm just talking getting a regular fire going. They have no idea. They don't know how to do it, which is insane to me. That's insane. So, it's part of what the way things are though now. So, but we're not the kids are not being taught. Who remembers? Okay, I want you to think about this one. A football player from back in the day, Dexter Mann. Who remembers Dexter Mann? Okay, he was a pro football player. Went to college, 4-year degree in college. Came out many years later playing football and said, "I can't read or write." Yep, Dexter Manley. Yep, yeah, it was Dexter Manley. Yeah, he said, "I can't read or write," and he was college educated, 4 years of college, but he could play football. So we just pass him on and let him do whatever he wants to do. And he was embarrassed about it, you know. Yeah, Dexter Manley. That was I don't know why I thought it was man. Yeah, passed because of his athletics, exactly. But like I said again, they have no skills. So when things go sideways and things go bad, think of how many of them are going to go just because of stupidity, because they don't know anything. So, guys, would you get rid of this moron, please? Again, did I not say, folks, that people are going to be children? We're going to get morons in here. So, JJ, would you take care of that one, please? And thank you very much ahead of time. Thank you very much. Just idiots. Oh, I got to tell you something that I did, guys. And I'm like, why did I not do that a million years ago? Right. So I love hard boiled eggs. So I'll make hard boiled eggs. And the thing that drives me the most nuts when I make a hard boiled egg is peeling the egg. Right. It's like a nightmare sometimes to try to peel these eggs. So I said, you know what? I'm going to watch a video. I'm going to see what they're saying, what you should do. right? So I'm watching this lady, and was showing a 6 minute egg, an 8 minute egg, 10, 12, and a 14 minute egg, and depending on where you want your egg to be. Okay, so 14 minute egg is what I want. I want it ready to go. So, but the one thing she was saying is have an ice bath ready. A bowl with ice cubes in it, and when you hit your 14-minute mark, you put those eggs right into that, like that. Folks, those eggs peel. Unbelievable. It's amazing. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I go, I'm such a moron for not doing that sooner. But from now on, you know, um, it's, yeah, I was like, wow. 14 minutes to boil the egg. You get the water boiling first. You put the eggs in it. You let it go for 14 minutes. You have your ice bath. So you scoop out the eggs and put them in the ice bath, and they peel like a dream. Who knew? Apparently, the internet knew. But no, Ed, that meant you learned something there with eggs. Yes, I did, Delbert. I was very happy to. And I was sitting there. Yeah, cooking is a skill. It really, truly is. I was sitting there and I was going, I should probably watch some more videos on cooking. I like to eat, so there's certain things I should probably really get my skills up better. So, but so I cooked up. What did I cook up? Like 10 or 11 eggs. Right? They're already all gone. I ate a couple of them. Just ate them. I did egg salad sandwich with 4 eggs last night. I did another egg salad sandwich today with 4 eggs today. So delicious, just absolutely wonderful. But uh, but it worked out good. So and then she was like, you take the egg and you break it from the bottom of the egg, the heavier part of the egg. Then when you peel it, it just peels right off. So, but I'm like happy to know that now. I'm like, all right, cool. So, I like scrambled eggs too. I like eggs sunny side up. I like them scrambled. Just it kind of really depends. So when I move to West Virginia, I'll bring the food. I love to cook. Nothing wrong with that. No, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, like I said, but there's certain things that I need to learn how to do better, and you can never stop learning. I think that's an important aspect of everything as well. So what do we got? 185 in the chat, guys. We're at 75 on the thumbs up. If you have not shot a thumbs up yet, I'm going to ask you to please do so to show support for the channel. Again, I do appreciate that ahead of time. It really does make a huge difference with the algorithms. So the more interaction, the better for the channel. Also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please, subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. Do you give your dogs eggs? Every day, Lamb's Light. Every day. I give the dogs an average about 5 eggs a day. I get now that I have them. Now that I used to give them like 2 or 3, but now that I have, the other hens are laying, I give the dogs about 5 eggs a day. So, and then what I'll do too sometimes, if I, have a really good day and I got a lot of eggs, I'll just take an extra egg and I'll walk up to the fence. And Kali loves it, loves the eggs, and I just give her a whole egg. Just give her the egg. She takes it and goes off to the sides, and they eat the egg, the shell, everything. They eat it all. So, but yeah, that's what a lot of people don't have. Um, the commitment to learn to do things better, like cooking. I just think it's like I said, I enjoy eating, and if there's something that I could learn to do better, why not? That's kind of where I'm at when it comes to cooking. I can do the basics, and I can get by. I have like my creature comforts that I like to eat, and so I'll eat those. But I was literally sitting there. There's got to be an easier way to deal with these eggs, and now I know. So Oh, yep, yellow mustard and the scrambled eggs. Nothing wrong with that. So, yeah, I mean, it depends on what you like, So, I like having an omelet. So I'll do, you can do a ham and cheese omelet or just a cheese omelet. And if I'm doing a cheese omelet, it's, the yellow cheese plus Swiss cheese. I use a combination of both. I love that. If you get the omelet going and throw some diced ham in there, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. You like onions or green peppers or whatever. I mean, you can go any way you want. I'm one semester away from getting my bachelor's degree in English and education. My son started reading by age 4 because we prioritize reading. Homeschooling has made a big difference. I agree with you, Silver Sage. Um, you know, Kids that are homeschooled generally do way better than kids that are at school because, you get them into a school, there's a hierarchy. If your kid is not a popular kid, they can be kicked to the side or whatever. I mean, we had the preppies, the jocks, the heads, okay, and then you had the losers. Basically, there was like the 4 categories. The heads were your drinkers and your druggers, your party folks. Your jocks were the guys that or girls that played in every sport, so they got away with everything because they were part of the school's athletic program. And then you had your preppies. Yeah, there's no peer pressure in homeschooling exactly. Your preppies were, the ones that were generally straight A students no matter what. Your bookworms, but also the ones that, had to be dressed a certain way. They were, the whole 9 yards. And so I was ahead. I mean, because I was a drinker, you know. I hung out with the potheads and the drinkers, so I liked them a whole lot better, you know. But anyway, I need to hop off. Have a great evening. Thank you for inspiring me with ideas for the homestead. You're very welcome, and appreciate you being here. And I hope you have a good night. And I hope you're learning stuff from what we're trying to do here, and it helps. Hopefully, so hopefully that helps. But yeah, like I said, guys, it's just again preparedness minded. I think that everybody to one degree or another. You don't have to go to the extreme that I go. That's my choice. That's how I want to live my life. But there is other ways that you can do things. To get to where you want to go. So, but I mean, having a minimal amount of something that doesn't cost a fortune to give you an advantage, why not? You know what I mean? Why not? I don't understand why people don't do it. I really don't. It blows my mind, especially these people that think, well, the government's going to save the day. They're not. They're not going to save the day. So like this whole thing with this kid that just killed Charlie Kirk. The FBI had no idea. They didn't know where to go. So that's when they put it out into the public. Here's what this guy looks like. If anybody has any help, they gave $100,000 reward, for finding it and getting him arrested. They had no idea, and again, sometimes that's the way it's going to be. It's not cut and dry. It's not black and white. And I'm sure, this kid, like I said, he was radicalized. And so, unfortunately, it is what it is. Yeah, his father turned him in. Yep, Robert Blakemore. I'm not sure, um, but I think the father was a retired sheriff. Yeah, I thought that's what I thought. I thought father was a police officer. Yep. Yeah, father was a cop and mom's a teacher. What happened there? You know what I mean? I mean, where did he get this way? You know. So, but like I said again, you never know, folks. You just never know. Yeah, they said a pastor the father knew told him to turn himself in. So good for both of them. I mean, the father and the pastor for, talking him into turning himself in. But obviously, it's too late. You know. But a lot of, like I said, just a lot of things are crazy. Crazy world. Crazy, crazy world. A question again, and I'm always going to be. I look at stuff and I go, you got a gentleman speaking, um, dealing with death threats, meaning Charlie Kirk. Why is nobody up on those roofs? Why is nobody up there making sure that nobody goes up there to try to assassinate him? That's what I will never understand. 200 yards, a little bit of training. That's all you need. It's all you need. A little bit of training. Few weekends at the gun range, get it dialed in, know what you're doing. So, yeah, okay, you're very funny. See, and that's a stupid comment. I'm sorry, but you made a stupid comment. So, yeah, why are they not using drones? Exactly. Why are you not taking every advantage that you have out there available to you? Drones, uh, security, you know, in the right places. I get having security right next to them too. I get that. But you got to look when you're at a place and go, okay, if I was a sniper, where would I be? So you make sure somebody's up in those areas so that nobody does that. That doesn't make sense to me. Especially, I mean, obviously um, we know that he, was targeted. So, yep, not enough security at rallies. It's just, where's a will, there's a way, folks. If somebody wants to do an evil act, they're going to find a way to do an evil act. That's just unfortunately the reality of the situation. That's always going to be the way. It's always going to be the way. So, I like I said, yep, he was placed right in the center. He was vulnerable from many different directions. Exactly. Yeah, it does not make sense. Was he a scapegoat? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't ever, you know, I don't ever want to, try to do any kind of conspiracy things, but certain things don't make sense to me. It's just like with Trump at the rally in Pennsylvania where he was at. This is at the time a presidential candidate and former president. Why are you not making sure that there's nobody on those roofs? Again, using drones, having people up on the roof. Why would you not have a security person up there? You can't shoot somebody if you can't get there. So I don't know. It just always a lot of questions. Things don't make sense to me. So, but there's a lot of games at play. Always a lot of games at play. People probably didn't like him. Yeah, obviously they didn't like him. You know, there was probably people in higher places that didn't like him, that saw him as a threat down the road. I could absolutely see him being somebody down the road that got into. I mean, even though he wasn't a politician at this point, I could see him getting into being a politician. You know, if I were a public speaker, I would definitely have my own security. Yeah, yeah. We never. Robert made a good point, and we know nothing about the Trump shooter. Yeah, they just kind of washed that one away. He had no profile on social media. What kid today doesn't have a profile on social media? There's a lot of questions with that one. Um, Patsy Fall Guy, I don't know. I'm asking a question. I'm not making a statement. Um, was that really where the shot came from? There's another question, Uh, why did all of a sudden, CNN decide that that was one of the events that they were going to broadcast live? Again, just questions. That's a lot of things don't add up. And Many of TikTok's videos and comments were just pure evil. They are literally celebrating his murder, sick and evil. Yes, terrible, absolutely terrible. And like I said, you don't have to be a fan of the guy, but to be overjoyed that somebody killed him. What do you think they'll do if somebody ever takes out Trump? You know, they will delight in it. They will delight in it because that's what they've been told, and who they've been told by, right? Again, same with Charlie Kirk, folks. Vilified on the left, the legacy news media, you know, saying all kinds of terrible things about the guy for how long. The politicians, same thing. And then because when somebody does something, then all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, we can't believe this happened. You should, because you ultimately were the ones that mentally disturb people up into a frenzy. They're the ones that do that. They're the ones that do that. They get these people all stirred up and they feel like they got to do something. So, yes, there was another thing too. So the Speaker of the House said, let's take a moment of silence, for Charlie Kirk. And you had all these Democrats out there yelling, no, no, no. I mean, what is wrong with people? I mean, what kind of people, when a little boy fighting cancer that he probably won't survive, and everybody knows he probably won't survive, is made an honorary FBI guy, right? And they wouldn't even get up and applaud for that. Do you remember that too? That's the Democratic Party. Just because it was something that was done by the Republican Party. It's just insanity. It's insanity to me. That's not about party lines. That's about, making this little kid feel special because he's probably not going to see, his 15th birthday. So, yeah, people should stop being obsessed with politics. That's the problem in this country. It's us against them. That's a great point, Nick. That is a great point. It's not about left or right. It really isn't. It should be about us and them. And and again, and I've said this one before, and I'll say this again, as long as they can keep us fighting amongst ourselves, we will never stop and look at the real problem, which is the politicians in big government and big business, right? There's the issue. Do we go up in arms against that? No. I want you guys, I'm gonna bring it back a little bit into something in the past. Okay. There was a point in time where these blood-sucking, greedy CEOs of a lot of these companies getting these huge pay packages, and people started getting upset, and they started protesting and all that type of stuff. What happens now? People go, well, they deserve that. They're the head of the company. They deserve it. It's done a complete 360. Why? Because of propaganda. It's propaganda, folks. I don't care who you are. Jamie Dimon is not worth $50 million a year, while Joe Blow clerk is making 15 and can't pay his freaking bills, right? You don't need that kind of money. He could take half of that, put it back into bonuses to help his business and help his people. But they don't do that because they don't care. They don't care about me and you. And I'm just using Jamie Dimon as an example because he's been around for like 20 years. But these people were vilified for a little while until we were all distracted into something else. And then all of a sudden it got twisted and turned. And now, and I don't know what he makes a year. I don't know if it's 50 million. I was just using that as a figure. I know he makes a lot of money. And a lot of them do. A lot of them do. So, yeah, they get the stock options and everything else. And then, my favorite, let me ask you guys this. Any of you that have ever been fired from a job because you did a bad job or they didn't like you or whatever the reason, did they give you a severance package on the way out? Did you negotiate your severance package before you took the job? That, well, if you decide to let me go, this is what you're going to have to give me. The golden parachutes. Exactly, Robert. That's what happens with these CEOs. They already have it negotiated into their contracts. If you get rid of me, this is what I get. Well, you know what we get? We get shown the door. There you go. See you later. Goodbye. That's what we get. It's amazing to me. It really, truly is, guys. It flabbergasted me. So what do we got? We got 214 in the chat, guys. We got 119 thumbs up. Again, if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, please do so to show support for the channel. I do appreciate that. Also, again, it really makes a big difference with the algorithms. So it really helps that way. So I thank you for that reason as well. Also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. So, but all right. So what we're going to, something else I got to take care of. I was thinking just something that just popped into my head, but I'll do that. I'll take care of that later. I completely forgot about that. And I was out and about today. Anyway, it's always something, folks. It's always something. Egg count. So what we're doing, total number of eggs, yes or no for Miss Betty White, and I have 3 Easter eggers. How many of the Easter eggs laid today? Okay, so it's total number of eggs. It is yes or no for Miss Betty White, and then how many of the Easter eggers laid today? So that's where we're at. So I'll give you guys a moment to get your guesses in, and I will let you know. So I'll give you guys a few minutes. I'm going to take a drink of green tea. All right. We finally got a right answer. I had to wait. I had to wait. Kathy's got the right answer today. 11 eggs today. Yes for Miss Betty White. And all 3 of the Easter eggers laid today. So congratulations to Kathy. For a minute, I was thinking nobody was going to get it. So, but not too shabby. I was happy about that. So congratulations to Kathy. You will have won absolutely nothing. I think that's like 2 wins here recently, too, for Kathy. So, but you are happy about it. So there we go. So that's a good thing. But yeah, they're doing well. Chickens are doing good. They're settling in. And I laugh at them. Man, I'll tell you, I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you something here. So like here's a regular egg, okay? Here's Betty White's egg. Her eggs are huge. And she's a little bitty chicken. She's a little bitty chicken. So yeah, I don't know. It's been a hot minute since I've been live. We used to have the thick neck laid. Now it's Betty White. Yeah, well, it used to be thick neck. She's actually still alive. Thick neck is up in New York. Not laying anymore though. She's an old girl now, right? Right, Helen? She's an old girl. Come on, down. So, I'd check out RoboKiller. It took care of my telemarketer spam calls. Small fee once a year. All right. Would you do me a favor and send me a link to my email? Because I will never remember other than that. So, but I appreciate that. No, they're not double yolkers. Nope, they are not. she just lays big eggs. I don't know what her deal is, but I'm thinking, how is that little bitty chicken laying out those big eggs? But I had the one time recently, one of the Easter eggers had a great big egg, and that was a double yolker. So, but so somebody was asking me about my egg salad. How do I make my egg salad? Generally, 3 to 4 eggs, and then mayonnaise, Hellman's mayonnaise, of course. It's got to be Hellman's. Salt and pepper. You could throw a little mustard in there if you wanted to. I generally don't. Um, but yeah, that's what I do, and works out really good. I just like that. Just tastes awesome. So, but yeah, like I said, chickens are doing good. I'm gonna address this because I don't get it honestly. Whatever this troll is upset that I'm not like giving my eggs away to my members. They're here once a month, folks. Once a month. Um, so and most of my people that are down here have their own chickens. Um, you know, like Rob's got chickens, Sandy's got chickens, Kim's got chickens. You know, I think Mark's got chickens. So they have their own chickens. And so I don't know what their issue is um, with me and the eggs. This whatever their fascination with that is. Um, I give a lot of eggs to my dogs. I'll call Steve and I'll say, "Hey man, come up. I'm going to cook up some eggs," and he's like, "All right," you know. So we'll cook up, 10 eggs at a time because I'm getting a lot of eggs every day. So I mean, I've been eating a lot of eggs. Oh, Mark said did have chickens but taking a break. Well, they're okay. I have 24 hens and all but 4 laid today. There, yeah. So you got a surplus of eggs, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But my neighbors give me eggs sometimes, but I don't expect them to do so. It's a gift, not an entitlement. There you go. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Like I said, I love having chickens. There is nope, no relish in my egg salad. Nope. But like I said, again, here most of my neighbors have chickens, so um, I'll give Randy eggs here and there because but he doesn't eat a lot of eggs. But yeah, now like I said, now with having 9 more hens on top of the 5 I had, when I had 5 eggs, it's not adding up as much. But with like I said, today it was 11 eggs today. I'm like, God, you know, I can only eat so many. So, oh, have fun playing poker. Love playing poker. Absolutely love it. A lot of fun. Anyway, guys, I will say this again. Continue to prep, continue to get ready. The unknown can be very scary. We don't know what's going to happen. The more prepared you are for the unexpected, the better off you're going to be. Today, Mark was working on his place again, and then he did a. I'm gonna show you what else happened. I'll you show that on video. But then he was also working in the pavilion today, in the loft, doing a little bit of that because he's very highly allergic to the insulation. So when we're putting the insulation up tomorrow in the ceiling, he won't be out there for that. So he's going to be back working on his place while we're doing that. Once we got that in, the next step for us is going to be getting the drop downs done for the pavilion so that we can button the place up and you know still digging now. So there you go. Yeah. Um, get the drop downs in and then look at getting the windows for the front. So that is something that might make a run out tomorrow and grab some windows. I don't know. Um, Got to see how much they're going to cost. What size we need if they have it, and what it's going to entail. So uh, we're just trying to keep making progress on that. We'll have that buttoned up before the snow flies. That I will tell you right now. It absolutely, the pavilion will be completely buttoned up. Here's the thing too. SHTF happens, let's say, right? If we have the pavilion buttoned up, we could use that as sleeping quarters, still use it to eat, regardless of time of year. If it's summertime, we put the things up and you got the airflow through without the bugs getting in, and all that type of stuff. So that's a lot of it, as far as that goes. But it's another option that we'll have once we have the shower room done. It's another option if we had to put people in there in a true SHDF situation, we can. It's just, being able to spread people out so everybody's not on top of each other is going to be very important. So that's kind of where we're at with that one. And we're just working on taking care of our business. You know, each month we get better prepared. Each month we add to our food supply. And, we're just going to continue to do that. And we're going to get there, folks. I mean, I hope we get more time. That is my ultimate hope if we get more time. No guaranteed, no guarantee of anything. Nothing. No guarantee of anything. So things go south and go sideways. We're as ready as we are at that point. The more time we get every month that goes by, really, no, actually, I mean, it's been very comfortable here at night, JJ. We've been getting 50s at night, mid 70s during the day. And this week has been absolutely gorgeous all week. So, that has really helped. But yeah, so, but we'll see how it all goes. We're just going to keep doing what we can, take care of our business, and hopefully we're going to be okay. So that's all we can do, and you know we'll get there. That's just the way I'm always. I mean, when I started this project down here, a lot of people said then, "Oh my God, you don't have enough time. You're never going to get it enough done." Um, Make sure you're still subscribed. They're unsubscribed. A lot of people from my channel, All American Prepper, said. It doesn't surprise me. It's a part of the game that they do all the time. They've been doing that forever. Um, it's unfortunate, but nothing you can do about it. Yeah, I always tell people, make sure you're still subscribed. Make sure you're still getting all the notifications. Make sure your bell icon is turned on to get all notifications. I'm posting every day. So, but anyway, like I said, it's the more time we have, the better off we're going to be. Like, with Mark doing what he's doing. But he's got a lot of his supplies here. They're on site. He's ready to go. So that's a good thing. Yeah, that's right, Mark. Yeah, I'm too old to start over. I heard that one too. I'm too old to start over. You don't have enough time. And look what we've gotten done. What, 3.5 years, 4 years? I've had the property 4 years now. And, so basically 3.5 years as a group working on stuff. We've got a lot done. We've come a long, long way. We have a long way to go. So, I eventually will get the well hooked up and going. Yes. It's just, like I said, again, it's there. It's ready to go. If we need it, we could do it, get it going tomorrow if we needed it, but if we don't need to do that, right at this moment, we're focusing on other things and, prioritizing, trying to prioritize, making sure everybody's set up, like I said, again, wood stoves, rain catchment, buildings, insulating the buildings, getting them buttoned up so that, my icon keeps getting changed from all. Yeah, that's another thing that is part of the game that gets played. So anyway, guys, I'm going to leave you with STD, step, thing, and day. It's one step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. If you set realistic goals that you can reach and then set about to making them happen, and you follow that mantra, okay, um, you can accomplish anything that you want to accomplish. And I would highly encourage you to do so. Just work at things methodically and they get done. Okay. So be safe, everybody. Keep prepping. Whatever time we have left, that's use it to your advantage. Take care of your business. Don't slack. Try to not get caught up in all the distractions. You know, it's what's going to happen is going to happen, and there's nothing we're going to be able to do to change it. The best thing we can do is be ready for whatever that's going to be. All right. I will talk to you all later. I hope you have a great day. Prepper Nurse One out for now.